This is how you sew the Mona and Broad inseam pocket. So I have my pocket piece cut out here, and I have serged along both edges, and then I've just marked the notches in with chalk there. I'm going to take my dress piece. I've already inserted, this has the short sleeved, the cuff sleeve on it, so I've inserted that already. Just going to lay it out. So this is the side seam here. I have that cuff tucked up inside. And if I kind of open this side seam up a little bit, you can see I've also marked the pocket notches in there. So I've already done the serging of that side seam all the way around. The next step is we're going to attach the pocket pieces onto the side seam. So we're going to match these notches right sides together. So I have the notches here. I'm going to mark them this side and then also on the other side. Oops, that's the wrong notch. There we go. Make sure it's the upper notch with the upper notch. There we go, that's better. It's going to be a very short pocket. Okay, so essentially that piece is kind of straddling between the two side seam pieces. We're just going to sew a short amount, so just between the pins, so between those notches, with a 1/2 inch or 1.3 centimeter seam just between these. So we're going to do that first and then come back and I'll show you how we're going to understitch. So I've sewn that short distance there. We're going to understitch it. I'm going to just turn it the other way around so you can see. So I have the seam allowances all unfolded, so the side seam is unfolded out and so everything's towards the pocket. So what I want to do is I want to understitch, you can see that's the part that I just sewed. I want to understitch that seam that I just sewed, but I don't want to understitch it all the way to the end. Maybe start about 1/2 inch and finish about 1/2 inch or about 1.3 centimeters in from each end, just to give yourself a bit of space. So we're going to understitch those 4 short seams there. I've understitched those seams, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold the side seam, fold the garment in half. So this is the sleeve band is tucked in. This is the side seam. I'm just going to pull that pocket out to the side here. So we're going to sew the side seam from the underarm to the top of the where we started stitching the pocket there, those notches. So I'm just going to match here, and I'm going to pull this top part of the pocket away. And I'm going to put a pin in there just to make sure that everything is out of the way. So I want to make sure that I stop stitching exactly where the sewing for the pocket starts, and I want to start stitching exactly where that sleeve band stitching ends. Similarly, on the bottom edge of the pocket, so again flipping that pocket out of the way, I'm going to match those notches, pop a pin in, and I'm going to sew the rest of the side seam down to the hem. So gonna sew basically the side seam, leaving a gap where the pocket opening is. So I also went ahead and pressed those side seams open. And now we're gonna essentially do a similar thing on the pocket. So whereas before we sewed the side seam of the dress, now we're gonna sew these side seams of the pocket only. So I'm gonna flip the dress out of the way this time, and this is why we only understitched partially. I'm gonna sew the seam 1/2 inch seam allowance for the top part of the pocket and the bottom part of the pocket. Again, starting and stopping our sewing where the other sewing stopped. So we're going to do that and then press all of those seams open. Okay, we have this very strange looking pocket hanging out of the side of our side seam right now. So we're going to do some kind of magic folding. So you'll notice there's this V at the top. What we're going to do is there's a notch there and there's also a notch down the bottom, and we're going to fold along this notch. So that what that will do is it will make it, I don't know, like a kind of house shape. Do you like that? A house shape. So that's going to make the pocket the shape that we want it. You'll press that into shape. So I've actually pressed it on the other side already. Okay. So now what we're going to do is sew it into this shape. So I'm just going to pin it like this. So along this top, so we're going to keep this free from the dress when we do it. So just the pocket, and then straight across the bottom, just the pocket. Okay, so we're going to do that on both sides, and then you're actually going to finish those. So serge or zigzag straight across the bottom, and then straight across the top. I'll do 2 passes. I'll do one like this, and then another one like that. And that will be fine because it's actually stitched down, so it's not too much of an issue. So go ahead and do that, and then things will start looking more pocket-like. That's looking pretty good. So we have our pocket, and it's flapping free from the bottom. This is the side seam of the dress, and this is the seam of the pocket. We have the top part of the pocket, which is still free. So I'm gonna just turn it over to the right side to show you what it looks like. So here's the sleeve band here, and here's the pocket opening. We'll give it a press. I'll just finger press it to show you. We'll give it a press and see how that completely disappears. To use the pocket, you'll just put your hand straight down into it. So you should check to make sure that everything seems to be good. Now, just one more step. Because that top part of the pocket was floating free, we want to anchor that. And we do that with a bit of first of all, some ditch stitching and then some top stitching. So I'm just reaching in here, and this is easy for me to show you because of the sleeve band, but I'm just matching these side seams and pinning it up. So matching it up, and what I'm going to do is going to pin it right on that seam line for some ditch stitching. So I'll check from the inside. Okay, so basically we'll be sewing just this short piece, so I can feel with my fingers where that kind of roof shape bit ends, and it's about here. So I'm going to sew just a short row of stitching in the ditch from here down to the top of my pocket opening. And then I'm going to sit it really flat and then pin the diagonal parts here. I'm going to actually sew from the inside. I'm going to sew a roof shape, a diagonal V shape from the inside, just to sew that top edge down to stop it from flapping around. So I'm going to do that and I'll come back and show you the finished product. That's that pocket there. So that's that stitching in the ditch that we did here, and then I just top stitched from the inside here just to make sure it was accurate with the angle of the top edge. So anyway, I hope that's been helpful and interesting to you, and I hope you enjoy sewing these pockets.